Welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. This is your review of the Conference League game where Shamrock Rovers went to Vienna and produced a brilliant display to earn a 1-1 draw against Rapid Vienna. Fantastic result for Shamrock Rovers, who played a side who are obviously still unbeaten in the Conference League after 4 games. Shamrock Rovers themselves are unbeaten in the Conference League after 4 games, 2 wins and 2 draws. It's very good. It's fantastic stuff, I think. It's no easy feat at all. In the game itself, Rovers went with a 3 at the back, 2 wing back system like they normally do. 3 men in midfield and 1 off the top. In goal was Liam Poles. The wing backs were Dar Burns on the right, Josh Honahan on the left. The centre backs were Lee Grace on the left hand side, Dan Cleary on the right hand side, Pico Lopez in the middle of the defence. In midfield, they played basically 2 deep players, certainly in the first half. We'll get on to that in a minute, whereby Gary O'Neill played with Poom in the middle of the park. Watts was slightly higher in theory. Ferrugia was kind of playing off Kenny, but it was also dropping into midfield to help create a diamond at times, particularly in their first half where he joined Dylan Watts, and there wouldn't be a big gap between Watts, Ferrugia, when they didn't have the ball for sure, and Poom and O'Neill in that sense. The 2 fullbacks in the first half, or wingbacks really, Honahan and Dar Burns, were very deep actually, extremely deep, and Rovers had a back 5 for an awful lot of that time in the game. But the first half, I suppose, Rapid Vienna take the lead after 8 minutes, and it looked like it was coming actually at that point. They had created good openings, they hit the bar, they scored a goal, as I said, after 8 minutes through the centre-back, Shetkovic. Rovers failed to deal with the corner, to be honest, and they've had problems with set pieces and corner kicks defensively, particularly. They've had it in the league as well, but particularly in Europe, and that came back to haunt them a little bit here. And the number of opportunities to actually get it clear, and they failed to do so. It lands to the feet of Shetkovic, who rifles it home. It's a very good finish at that stage. Had a few shots from distance. After 3 minutes, they hit the post from Sedel. They have a chance from Sangre after 7 minutes, and after 10 minutes, Bellew, the top scorer, had a really good chance when he swivels on his left foot, but it goes wide. But all of Rapid's Vienna's, that was it, kind of. In the first 10 minutes, their best chances were in the first 10 minutes. They scored in the first 10 minutes. After that, Shamrock Rovers haven't played for 3 weeks, so they probably found it hard to get the pitch of the game. I think as well, Rapid Vienna thought they got the early goal. They're going to win this game comfortably, to be honest with you. But for the rest of the half in general, now Rovers didn't create much, but they defended very well. They didn't look like they were going to concede after that initial 10 minutes or so. As I said, they were very deep, and it worked well in many ways because obviously they pretty much had a flat back 5, as I mentioned there, off the ball. Poom and O'Neill were extremely deep just ahead of the centre backs, and then Watts and Ferrugia were another double pivot just ahead of them, and it left Johnny Kenny a bit isolated though up front, to be honest. So it did. But it meant they could defend very well, and they did defend very well. They didn't really have an outlet in the counter-attack, but they went in 1-0 down at half-time. In the second half then, you could see a noticeable difference from the first whistle, from the first minute, whereby Rovers start to press up the pitch a little bit more. Everyone was higher. The full-backs, I keep saying full-backs, but the wing-backs, Burns and Honahan, were squeezing a little higher. Watts was notably higher. He was getting forward. Ferrugia was kind of given license along that line. He could appear in the left, the centre, or the right. He was given a bit of license there. And then Kenny had a bit of support because of that. And they were more aggressive in their play, maybe in their approach when they didn't have the ball. They were snapping at the heels of Vienna, etc., and putting them under pressure. And they create good moves. And first of all, before we get into that though, in 51 minutes, the referee awards Rapid a penalty. And this is where VAR worked really well, but I don't know what he was thinking. I'm honest, even in real time, I was thinking, he was very quick to give it first of all, and you're kind of going, I don't see a handball there. You're giving it for handball against Gary O'Neill. But then when you see the replay, VAR looked at it, it doesn't hit Gary O'Neill in the hand at all. It hits him basically here. As simple as that. And the referee is then asked to go and look at the monitor, and the penalty is cancelled. But it was a bit worrying that he was given that penalty so quick, as if he was so decisively given it. He was sure it was a penalty when clearly it wasn't a penalty. So that was disappointing. But VAR did his job here and overruled it. At 55 minutes then, Shamrock Rovers managed to equalise. And a couple of little moments like this where they were getting forward, getting into pockets in the second half, and maybe the final ball wasn't good, but it was a very good move that got the equaliser. Pico plays a lovely ball into midfield to Watts, who can turn on it immediately in his space to drive. He plays it out to Farouja in the left centre position. Farouja turns, plays it to Josh Honohan, who this time in the second half is motoring forward. And this was the difference in terms of the attacking play in the second half that you didn't see in the first half. Honohan has a great stamina, he's a great engine. Really, really good player, by the way, Josh Honohan. And just drives, gets forward, gets a cross into the box. Wonderful cross with his left foot into the box, and Johnny Kenny picks up a very good position, peels away from the defender. He's in the 6-yard box, he plies the finish with his right foot, and it's a very good move by Shamrock Rovers. Shamrock Rovers are level 1-1. Then you're expecting a bit of a siege from Vienna, and they did put Rovers under pressure. But mainly from corner kicks. They didn't look like they were going to score from any other situation. They did hit the bar from a corner where Poles comes out and kind of misses the ball, and their shot and their header from the corner ends up off the bar. And I do think Poles is unconvincing, I should say, from particularly defending set pieces. But although there was a bit of pressure, Rovers defended well. I didn't feel like kitchen sink stuff, and they carried the threat still on the counter attack. In the 86th minute, Kenny picks up the ball on the halfway line, but he's on the left wing kind of position. He just immediately spins his man and drives at the defence, using his pace and showing a bit of power as well. Takes a shot, ball away from the defender, takes a shot on his left, and the keeper makes a save. But he had a strike actually slightly earlier in the half as well, where kind of opportunity. He tries to catch the keeper out in his near post, but the keeper makes a mess of it actually. He seems very surprised by it or something, and luckily for him, it hits the post and goes out for a corner. So they had opportunities in that second half. And really, the only real chance after that was in stoppage time, when Rapid Vienna, 2-minute stoppage time, forced a good save from Poles, to be fair. But overall, they deserved their point from the game. It was a really, really good performance, I thought. And the fact they hadn't played in 3 weeks. Rapid Vienna are a decent side. They are a very decent side. If they were playing, for example, Chelsea at home, I wouldn't guarantee to beat Chelsea at home. Do you know what I mean? Chelsea are obviously in the Conference League as well, but really good performance. And, you know, what they did in the first half, I suppose, kind of worked in many ways. And what they did in the second half then worked in many ways, you know. And fair play to Stephen Bradley and his coaching team because, you know, tactically very well set up again. And as I said, really, really good performance. Some really good performers as well. I thought Dara Burns, who is more known for his attacking play, I thought he was brilliant in his defensive play in particular. A right wing back in both halves for Shamrock Rovers. He was allowed to squeeze up a bit in the second half, a bit more. But defensively, very, very good. Never switched off because he's not a defensive player. Josh Honohan, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Lee Grace, Pico Lopez, absolutely fantastic. Dylan Watson, particularly in the second half. And everyone on the team, Johnny Kenny as well, was excellent. Everyone on the team done their job, really. And it's a really good team performance and an excellent result. Unbeaten now, looking like they're, you know, they have a home game, I think it's the next week or 2 weeks, but they have a home game coming up and, you know, in a really good position. It's one thing qualifying for the Conference League, which is fantastic, but to be actually doing well in the competition is fantastic as well. And really, really good performance. Outstanding performance from Shamrock Rovers and fully deserved the point. And good night. Again, good night for Irish football. Very good night for Irish football. I'll leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who was your man of the match, actually? If I had to give my man of the match, I'd probably go Josh Honohan, actually, for man of the match, personally. But who was your man of the match? What did you think of the game? Did you watch it as a Shamrock Rovers fan? Did you watch it as a League of Ireland fan? Do you like seeing League of Ireland teams get good results in Europe, even if you support a different team? You know, I mean, it doesn't matter what team is in Europe. I'm become a fan of their club and they're in Europe. So I'll leave it there, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again. Good night.